The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, the first novel of the Chronicles of Narnia series by C.S. Lewis, has been enchanting readers since the 1950s. The story, if you don't already know, is about four English children who, after being evacuated to the countryside during World War II, discover a magical land inside a wardrobe of the house they're sent to live in. In this land, they discover about an ancient prophecy where they must meet the great lion Aslan and help him overthrow the White Witch and save Narnia from her tyrannical rule. The story has been adapted 4 times, a 10-part serial in 1967, an animated film in 1979, a BBC series in 1988 and a Disney theatrical film in 2005. Despite a few minor changes, each adaptation has been pretty faithful. But let's see how far I can take it. 1,000 years ago, the Earth was changed after a nuclear world war, resulting in a never-ending winter and the human race nearly wiping each other out. As a result of using nuclear weapons, the surviving animals have been mutated by the radiation, leaving these mutant hybrids to be the dominant race on the planet. The hybrids decide to call this new world Narnia, after the final bomb that was used in the war. As the years pass and hybrids become more intelligent, they form cultures and civilizations, including religions, based from those from the old world, including one religion which tells the prophecy of 2 sons of Adam and 2 daughters of Eve, 4 pure-blood humans who will return and lead the hybrids into a new age. However, Narnia is soon taken over by a barbaric hybrid called Jadis, beginning a tyrannical reign, leading some Narnians to join her and some to rebel. Little do the Narnians know, deep in the old country that used to be England, there was a mansion that was owned by a professor and his wife, who had managed to survive the war and lived out the rest of their days alongside their children, Peter, Susan, Ed and Lucy. Deciding it was best for the children not to know what the outside world was like, the mother used an old wardrobe that contained a tunnel that connected the mansion to the outside world to gather food and supplies for her family. However, after consuming toxic fruit, both parents die, leaving Peter in charge to look after his family. However, as he was still young himself, he struggled with his siblings, especially Ed, who he would unintendedly abuse to keep him in line. One day, during a game of hide and seek, the youngest sibling, Lucy, comes across the wardrobe and discovers the tunnel. She crawls through and finds herself, for the first time in her life, outside in Narnia. While there, she befriends a goat hybrid called Tumnus, who explains the story of Narnia to her. Originally having the intention to kidnap her for Jadis, Tumnus decides to return her home. When she returns, she tells her siblings what had happened, but none of them believe her. However, one day, Ed follows Lucy into Narnia, where he meets Jadis, the tyrant of Narnia. Manipulating Ed for her own uses, she tells him to bring his siblings to her castle, where she will make him a prince. Making a deal with the evil queen, Ed reunites with Lucy and they both return home, but Ed lies to Peter and Susan about being there. Eventually, all 4 children enter Narnia together, but discover Tumnus has been murdered by the secret police for treason, breaking Lucy's heart. However, the siblings are befriended by 2 married hybrids, Mr. and Mrs. Beaver, who tell them of the prophecy and rebellion against Jadis, including the leader of the resistance, Aslan. Ed, overhearing all this, slips away and reports to Jadis. Angered by the news, she orders the execution of the siblings and the Beavers, keeping Ed her prisoner. Realising that Ed is gone, the Beavers lead the siblings to the rebel camp. Once at the camp, The siblings meet the lion hybrid Aslan. All three of them are in awe of him, especially Susan, who develops a sexual attraction to him. Jadis arrives with her army and Ed and offers a deal with Aslan. They both speak privately, and a deal is made, and Ed is free. Later that night, Susan and Lucy secretly follow Aslan to Jadis's camp, where she kills him in exchange for Ed's life, shocking the two sisters. The next day, Jadis's army attacks the rebels, with both Peter and Ed leading them. Back at Jadis's now abandoned camp, Aslan's body is examined by Susan, who, after kissing his lips, discovers a scar on his stomach. Using a knife, she cuts him open and discovers a man-made bomb, with a note saying to use it at the right time. Joining the battle, Lucy tells Peter and Ed to order a retreat. They do, and Jadis, believing she has won, orders her troops to finish them all. However, Susan, with the bomb, activates it and throws it towards Jadis and her army. It explodes, killing all of them and ending her reign. With Narnia free, the four siblings become king and queen, while a memorial wall is built to honour those who sacrificed themselves to free Narnia, including Tumnus and Aslan, who, despite being killed, is believed to one day return. So, yeah, as you can tell, I took a lot of creative liberties writing this. I didn't want to go into too much detail about it because I just feel like giving a clear synopsis is enough, really. I mean, as you can tell from what I told you, yeah, I don't need to go into too much detail. I did try to follow the exact same story structure as before. So it's not like it's a so all you've got to do is just think about the story and just include the elements I added. And yeah, I'm sure a lot of you have a lot of questions, especially regarding one specific thing, but let me explain. So yeah, I find that in a lot of adaptations that are loosely based on stories, I feel like they always try to make them darker than the original story. So I tried to make this one a bit more darker as well by including a nuclear apocalypse background and having Peter be slightly more abusive towards Ed. And I know what people are going to bring up. Susan being sexually attracted to Aslan. Again, if you look at a lot of loosely based adaptations, they always try to make one of the women a lot more, a lot more sexual than they were in the original source material, and I just felt like that's something I'm sure one director would have done, because it's kind of like an unwritten rule of filmmaking, really. But yeah, in case anyone's wondering, the reason why I refer to the White Witch as Jadis is because, well, that's actually her name in the novel series, believe it or not. If you didn't know, Jadis was the name of the White Witch. That was her name. But the reason why I didn't use the White Witch name is because I just couldn't think of something that would have fitted in with this new Narnia, with this type of Narnia, and I just stuck with her original name. I was really tempted to call her the Iron Queen or the Metal Queen, but it just doesn't have the same type of it just didn't have the same type of vibe, and yeah, as you can tell from the synopsis, I kind of got rid of all the fantasy elements. So all the talking animals are hybrids. The White Witch is just a evil queen, and yeah, I know a lot of people are going to talk about how the ending feels like a Deus Ex Machina, and yeah, I will admit it is, but I really couldn't think of how to end this without bringing Aslan back to life, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to keep this one a bit more grounded in some way, so I didn't want to include any of the fantasy elements, and I think someone getting resurrected is a bit of a much. But yeah, some of these ideas, like I said, I just wanted to keep true to the original story and just go out there with any bizarre ideas, and these were the most bizarre ideas I had. I didn't want to go too far because, like I said, I wanted to keep. This is still technically a Narnia adaptation. I didn't want to go too overboard. I just took a few creative liberties. This is something I really hope never gets made into a film. This was honest. I'm only doing this just for the hell of it. It's for fun, and I'm gonna do it to a few more other stories just to see how far I'm willing to go. See, that's the tricky thing about loose adaptations. How far can you go without completely changing the story, the original story? But yeah, that was a loose adaptation of The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. Will I do the other Narnia books? Maybe, I don't know. I've got a few other ideas lined up and I can't wait to do them. If you have any suggestions, or you know, if you had a chance to adapt Narnia, how would you do it? Would you do a straightforward, or would you do a loose one like I just did? And if there's any other book titles you think I should do, you know, comment below. You know, I'd be interested to see what you lot suggest. So yeah, that's all for me for now. Have a nice day. Bye.